The Maple Leafs have exorcised their ghosts, with William Nylander shining and Max Pacioretty reborn. Toronto overcame Ottawa in a historic series, but destiny raised the stakes. In the next round, it will be a reunion with familiar faces. Stolarz, Ekman-Larsson, and Lorentz, former Panthers, now wear blue and white and face their old team in a battle filled with emotion. The real test begins now. Have the Leafs learned to win under pressure? And Stolarz, from backup to starter, is he ready to face Bobrovsky? In this video, we'll explore 3 updates shaping this new chapter. The victory over the Senators, the emotional behind-the-scenes moments, and the reunion with former Panthers players. Leafs vs. Panthers is more than just a series. It's an intense story. Subscribe, leave a like, and join us. What comes next could change everything. Update number 1. Nylander scores twice as Maple Leafs eliminate Senators and advance to the second round. William Nylander scored 2 goals, added an assist, and was the hero of the victory that sent the Maple Leafs to the second round of the playoffs. Toronto defeated the Ottawa Senators 4-2 in Game 6, closing out the series 4-2 and ending the Battle of Ontario with a historic win. But while the spotlight still shines on the ice, one question hangs in the air. Was this performance just the beginning of a new era or the final act before tough decisions? The Leafs were up 3-0 in the series. They won with authority, pushing the rival into a corner. But when Ottawa responded with wins in Game 4 and Game 5, the old anxiety of Toronto reappeared, the one that has haunted them since 2018. In games that could decide a series, the team had only 1 win in 14 opportunities. And even with all the talent of Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and now Max Pacioretty, that shadow still looms. Nylander, the birthday boy, responded with coolness. He scored 2-0 in the second period and sealed the win with an empty net goal at the end, following an assist from Pacioretty, who was also crucial with the game-winning goal. The team, so accustomed to disappointments, finally answered under pressure. Toronto now faces the Florida Panthers in the second round. And more than ever, the team needs to maintain consistency. The Leafs won a series for the second time in the salary cap era, something rare, almost symbolic, and the victory over the Senators carries a special taste. Since the 2000s matchups, Toronto had dominated Ottawa in the playoffs, but hadn't won a series with authority in decades. Max Pacioretty, healthy at the start of the series and newly integrated into the second line with Nylander and Tavares, showed he could be a vital piece in this campaign. It was his goal that turned the game, a play that began with Max Domi and ended with an undefendable shot into the top corner of Ullmark's glove. Later, he nearly saw Scott Laughton in the game with a shot off the post before Nylander sealed it with the empty net goal, as if to say, it's over. On the other side, Brady Tkachuk did all he could. The Senators' captain scored his 4th goal of the series, keeping Ottawa's hope alive as they returned to the playoffs for the first time since 2017. But despite the mid-series rally, the Leafs' experience made the difference. Stolarz, with 20 saves, held the final pressure. Matthews, with a power play goal in the first period, set the pace. The win also holds historical value. Only 4 teams in NHL history have come back from a 3-0 series deficit, and the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs were one of them. But now, the fear was being on the wrong side of that statistic. And it was exactly that tension the Leafs managed to dispel with their best collective performance of the playoffs. What's next? The series against the Panthers will be a new test. A test to see if this team has finally learned to win under pressure. If Nylander will continue to be the difference maker. If Pacioretty will keep up the pace. If Matthews and Marner will step up in the toughest moments. And now I want to know from you, which player was the most decisive in this series? Nylander, Pacioretty, or Matthews? Leave your comment below and let's talk about what this victory means for the future of the Leafs. Update number 2. See what Toronto Maple Leafs players said after eliminating the Sens from the playoffs. And when William Nylander sealed the win with an empty net goal, the Leafs fans could finally breathe. But what seemed like a sigh of relief was, at its core, just the beginning. The series against the Senators was behind them, but its impact still resonated in the words of those who were on the ice. Right after the 4-2 victory in Game 6, the Toronto Maple Leafs players started opening their hearts. An emotional backstage of this qualification came to light. Austin Matthews, who scored the opening goal in the first period, summed up the feeling in the locker room in just a few words. "We came into this game a lot of outside noise, but the faith in this group, the faith in the locker room, game by game, proud of the guys. This is a step. Great game tonight, and we move on." It was a reminder of how much Toronto needed not only to win, but to rediscover itself. After going up 3-0 in the series, the Leafs allowed Ottawa to come back, forcing Game 6 and provoking the familiar panic among fans who have lived with early eliminations for decades. The pressure was real, the doubt inevitable. But as Anthony Stolarz, the goalie who made 20 saves in a decisive night, said, "We showed a lot of perseverance. In the end, I was just focused on the next play." And in a series that could have easily slipped through their fingers, it was the simple moments, a save here, a block there, that kept Toronto standing. Craig Berube, the Leafs coach, got straight to the point. After the loss at home in Game 5, it was a tough game. "We came in here with a slightly different mindset." According to him, the group understood that they needed to adapt, and quickly. It wasn't just about talent. It was about emotional response, about resisting the narrative that has always weighed on Toronto in the playoffs. And perhaps the most symbolic statement of the night came from Max Pacioretty, the unlikely hero who scored the game-winning goal at 36 years old, and with only 6 goals in the season. He wasn't one of the most expected names to decide a series, but fate had another plan. "You keep playing because you want to contribute," he said. "When you're on the outside and the team is winning, you're happy for them, but you want to be a part of it." And he was at the most critical moment. The series is now against the Florida Panthers. The schedule hasn't been set yet, but the mission is already clear. Prove that this victory wasn't a fluke, that the faith in the group, as Matthews mentioned, can truly carry a team to the finals, and that Toronto has finally learned to win with maturity, even under the constant shadow of collapse. And you, fan, do you believe the Leafs are ready for the next step? Has this roster finally turned the corner? Leave your comment below. Update number 3. Panthers ready to face trio of former teammates in series against Maple Leafs. As the potential of the second round wasn't enough, represents a short-term. Fate decided to write a separate storyline for this series. When the Toronto Maple Leafs host the Florida Panthers for Game 1, it won't just be another showdown between two teams chasing glory. It will be a reunion with familiar faces, intertwined stories, and emotions that go beyond the lines on the ice. Anthony Stolarz, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Steven Lorentz, 3 players who wore the Panthers uniform last season and are now key pieces in the blue and white machine of the Leafs. Now, they are not only facing a former team, they are confronting a previous version of themselves. Stolarz may be the biggest symbol of this turnaround, from being Sergei Bobrovsky's backup in last year's playoffs. With just 1 game played during the Stanley Cup run, he has now become the undisputed starter for Toronto. He was the one responsible for the 6 games against the Ottawa Senators, with impressive numbers, a .926 save percentage, and a 2.14 goals against average. His former teammate Bobrovsky didn't hide his affection. It was a good partnership last year. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. He's a good goalie. But Stolarz is not alone in his reconnection with the past. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the Swedish defenseman, played a prominent role in the Panthers' 24 playoff games last year, and now he's already scored 2 goals in his new journey with the Leafs. He arrives with the experience of knowing what it takes to go deep, and now he wants to repeat that success with a different jersey. Steven Lorentz, a native of Ontario and a Leafs fan since childhood, may have the most personal chapter in this story. He played 16 games with the Panthers last postseason, and although he didn't score against Ottawa, he represents a heart of team that has started to give space to quiet yet crucial contributions. On the other side, Panthers head coach Paul Maurice doesn't hide his respect for his former players. Those guys were a big part of it. "I'm happy they've found a place where their contribution really matters," he said, with genuine admiration. He knows that facing them again will be special and challenging. As the series is about to begin, the narrative takes on multiple layers. It's not just Leafs versus Panthers. It's Stolarz versus Bobrovsky, Ekman-Larsson against the system that made him in Florida. It's an emotional battle, where the past faces the present and every shift on the ice carries a story that goes beyond the game. Whoever wins this series will face the Carolina Hurricanes or Washington Capitals in the Eastern Conference Finals. But for the Leafs and Panthers fans, what's at stake now is more than a spot. It's the affirmation that new beginnings can be more powerful than legacies. Do you think Stolarz is ready to beat his former mentor? Can Ekman-Larsson be the defensive pillar against an offense he knows so well? Comment below with what you expect from this intense series. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. In the next video, we'll analyze the most explosive individual matchups between Leafs and Panthers and predict who could be the unexpected hero of this new war on ice.